Madsen is howling on James McFadden.
It's basically like rebuilding a car basically after the race, where you take all the injectors out, clean all the pistons, everything like that, take the exhaust pipes off, make sure nothing's scorched, everything like that.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Work Area Podcast. This one again brought to you by KRM Hot Shots. My own little business. Cheers to Nugget. Sorted me out with a little something on Friday. So I really appreciate that, mate. Thanks for the hit up. TPE Group, obviously not today, but usually give me the office to do the podcast in, and obviously fields all my phone calls when I annoy him all day. So I appreciate you boys. And again, just the like and subscribe of the stuff. If you're on Facebook or social media or Spotify or whatever, just follow it or like it or whatever. It actually helps us out and helps us get where I want to go. So, you can't tell at the moment, but you will when I flip the camera around. We're at the stable of Dan Golding Racing, the Dasco Supply Group, QV W71. No stickers at the moment, but thanks, boys. Yeah, stoked to get this one done.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Looking forward to it.
Mate, what sort of time frame are we looking at before these are ready to go? Like, are you far off for these cars to be finished, or is it always a waiting game?
We're not too far off. It's you got to be a little patient this time of year. You don't want to rush things, and we're in the middle of getting things stickered and getting things painted, and just let things come together. You don't need to. We still got 7 or so weeks, so you don't want to rush things, and things need to be right. So that's what we're really playing at right now. But yeah, we're in good shape.
Is this like the funnest part of the year for you? Like getting to build these things from scratch? Is that the funnest bit, or like in terms of not being at the races and stuff, but do you enjoy this type of work?
Yeah, there's nothing like being locked in your workshop on your own and a couple of bare frames and a bunch of parts, and get to go to work and put your twist on things and experiment and take measures and all sorts of fun stuff, and yeah, just chip away all winter. It's fun.
With that, mate, obviously you've done a fair bit, and it's hard to like get a resume of a crew chief, right? Looking up like Kaiden statistics is pretty easy, but it's not like you're new to the sport or anything like that. Like it's going to be weird. It's a podcast, so we want to learn about you. What's your sort of resume? You've been around it a long time. I know you've gone to America. I know you've always been around it, but just I guess a short snapshot of who you've worked for and what you've done.
Yeah, I don't want to bore the people. I don't know if they want to hear about me, but
that's exactly what they want to hear about.
Yeah. Funnily enough, it all started with Dan Golding and his brother Rob, probably 12 years ago. Just wanted to be more involved in the sport and scrape some mud and kind of learn how to mount tires and do all that stuff on their midgets back then. And from there, I really just wanted to be a better mechanic or a better race car mechanic, and thought that if I went to America, I could do that. So I literally, when I was 18 or 19, flew there with the money that I had and messaged every sprint car team I could find on Facebook until someone gave me a job.
Really?
Yeah, so flew there and just literally messaged everyone. And one guy that was on the Outlaw Tour, who, if he's listening, I'm sorry, but we sucked. But we did that for 2 years, and we just went and raced 80 times a year and learned how to build sprint cars. And first time I ever built a sprint car myself, they dropped me in the Knoxville Walmart parking lot, and hey, we're switching frames, but we got to go home for the week. And I sat there on my own and built a couple of cars, and we went and raced Knoxville that weekend. But yeah, and from that,
That is wild.
I never built a car on my own before. I hardly knew what I was doing, and pulling cars down from upstairs, and it's just me. But from that, yeah, met Brian Brown, and he came out here, and I did the Wormwood Brian Brown deal that year.
Yep.
And from that, Dominic Selzy was here, and I met him and Gio. And from that, Dom gave me a shot at his family team in America. So I went there for a year and worked on the Selzy Enterprises car with him. And from that, did World Series with Wormwoods and Dominic Selzy, and met Daniel Harding when I was in America, which is an old place to meet someone else from Perth.
Yeah.
And, worked on their family team at the HRP Specialties there for a couple of years with Trevor. And, real smart guy, and that's someone you want to be learning off. So, and then, from there, ended up back with Dan Golding, and had always been kind of still friends with him, and we'd done some racing on and off over that time. And, now we've ended up here. Maybe it's been 4 years back over here now, and kind of things have grown a little bit from racing one midget back in the day. But, still having fun.
Well, so you you've got a ticket. Like, where did you stay? Like, you just genuinely like, I'll just wing it, go to America and just message everyone. That is wild.
Yeah, I booked a ticket to LA, and I booked a hotel room in Anaheim, and I said I'd go to, which is odd, but I'd go to Disneyland for a couple of days. And while I was there, I made as many phone calls as I could. And
That's so sick.
eventually someone got back to me and said, hey, if you fly to Minneapolis, we'll pick you up from Mall of America. It's only a couple of hours from Houston. And so I flew to Minneapolis and stood in this parking lot, and a big rig pulled up, and I jumped in, and we drove 7 hours to Houston and raced that weekend.
And what about, like, what was your skill set then? Like, did you know what you're doing? Like, you would have thought you knew more now, but looking back, where were you at, like, in terms of working on cars?
I'd never worked on a sprint car in my life at that point. I'd worked on a midget. I'd mounted some tires, scraped mud, and raced 10 midget races in Australia, and thought, hey, maybe being a race car mechanic is possible. And at that, like now, there's some more opportunities, especially in WA. But back then, there was a couple of paid crew chiefs around, and I just remember walking around the pit area with my dad as a kid, and you think, geez, that'd be pretty cool, but there was only one way in my head of maybe creating an opportunity to do that, and that was going and doing that. And I worked for the kid who ran last at most of the outlaw races for 2 years, but created a lot of opportunities in the future. Yeah, but I had never worked on a sprint car before up until the day I showed up at the Houston outlaw race.
That is definitely, people will want to know about that. That is wild. And then obviously, Kaiden, you a little bit more known within the pits, mate. But I guess the start of your career, is it a standard start to the career, or where did you learn the ropes in terms of driving race cars?
Yeah, pretty standard, I guess. Started in dirt carts when I was 7, and raced those till I was about kind of 14, 15, and then from there basically went straight into midgets as soon as I turned 16.
And was that your dad's car? Was it?
No, I've actually I've never driven for a family car ever, except for the state title last year. That was my first time. So
that didn't go that great.
No, not really. But my first car owner was a guy called Laurie West, and he had like a really old midget that used to race at Claremont, more or less. And my first year, I think we raced 5 times and blew up 3 of those 5 times. And then the year after that, I drove for Keith McCallum. Yeah. And it kind of snowballed from there.
And how good were you early? It seems to be like right from the start, you were right up on the wheel and getting results. Is that how it felt for you?
Yeah, kind of. Probably, like, obviously my rookie year, I didn't really get to race that much because we blew up most of the time. And then my second year with Keith McCallum, he also has really good gear, and he's a really smart guy, so that really accelerated my kind of learning process and that, and we kind of started winning straight off the bat. But again, like, I was super lucky to be in like a really good car with a really good crew chief straight off the bat, so that kind of accelerates things pretty quick.
And how did that come about? Is that networking? Is it results? Is it a bit of both? Like, what would you describe your process as to get a good ride like that? Are you just meet and greet, handshaking, or are you just trying to win?
Yeah, virtually. I mean, that kind of came about because he saw me running that other car in the moments where it wasn't blowing up.
Yeah.
We kind of did okay, and he kind of seen that I guess I had a little bit of a potential. And he was also looking for a driver. He had Adam Clark running for him the years before, and that kind of all ended, and he was looking for someone and wanted to give a young guy a go. So, he put me in his car, and I'm pretty thankful he did.
And in terms of just quickly in the midget side of stuff, what's your best result in a midget, like, in your mind? What's the one race that you sort of hang your hat on in a speed car?
Man, I don't know. Should it be hard to just pick one, I guess. The state title that I won with Liam against Stevie was really cool. Yep. Because that was, we come back after the Aussie title, which was probably the worst day of my life, to come back and race wheel to wheel with Logan Stevie, who was a USAC national champion that year, and win that state title was really cool.
And then, so you gone from the speed cars. When did you make your first step into the sprint cars?
So I raced for Keith McCallum for 2 years. And then after that, I basically was going to have to pay a bunch of money to drive for him, just because he wasn't like a super wealthy kind of guy. He needed some money to support it, which me and my dad couldn't do. But I kind of got lucky with John from JNS Drilling. Gave me an opportunity I tested his 360 the year before, and we went, and I think we ran third or something and ran pretty good. And then he gave me an opportunity for the year after, but I was still like really keen on staying in midgets, and I went on this bandwagon of trying to find sponsors to come up with the money so I could stay in midgets, but I just couldn't, and I ended up having to go run this 360 sprint car with John for a year, which sounds terrible. Yeah. But for me at the time, like I was dead set on midgets. I couldn't care less about sprint cars as far as I was concerned. I used to watch when I was a kid, I used to watch the midget feature, then go back to the pits. I didn't care about sprint cars at all. So for me, like getting that opportunity with John, as much as I sort of really wanted to stay in midgets, it was still an unbelievable lifeline at the end of the day, because otherwise I would have been, sitting in the grandstands.
Yeah, so it wasn't like front of mind for you to get into the sprint cars. It's just sort of had to go racing. Yeah,
definitely. It was I just had to go where the rides were, more or less. But yeah, did a full year of 360s with John, and we ran pretty good. And then the next year we stepped up to the 410s, and I've never really found the same success in 410s that I have in midgets, but we're still working on that.
360s, you go all right?
Yeah, sometimes.
All right, let's get into it. So, you guys seem like young kids, but mate, to go back and try and cover everything you've done, like you said before, Liam, it's 12 years ago is when you started your thing. Like to go back and cover it right from the start, there's so much to cover already. So I reckon I'll start right now. Like, obviously, this is a brand new deal for you guys. It's the Dan Golding Racing. Brand new for this year. What's the initial? Well, no. Firstly, talk to me about Dan Golding. Like, I really like to highlight car owners and people that enable idiots like me to even be able to go to the speedway and watch a sprint car go around. Like the effort that would go in from Dan behind the scenes to even get where he is business wise and stuff like that. What's he like for you, Liam? You've probably had a longer relationship with him, so I'll get your thoughts just on Dan.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the first time I ever did anything with the race car was with Dan and his brother Rob 12 years ago, and I've known him since then. And in all the times that I went away and did other stuff and worked for other teams and worked at HRP, we always had a relationship. And here for the last 5 or 6 years, we've just solely been me and him with all the ventures that we've been on over here with his race team. But yeah, when you meet Dan and you see how hard he works, and when you are able to, if you're able to go over to Dasco and have a look at how the company operates and how the people there operate, you get a pretty good idea pretty quick of the type of person that he is and how he likes to operate, and is very successful in literally everything he does. And you have to be that way, especially if you want to go sprint car racing. It takes a lot of resources and a lot of time and effort. And we all, you have to match that effort. So when you look at someone like him, it makes you want to work hard, because he sets a really good example for working hard, and obviously that's paid off over a long period of time, and he's wanted to grow his team, and he's done it slowly and he's done it smartly, and yeah, he's a really good guy, and he'd do anything to help anyone, and he's helped. Not only has he built his own team, but he's put a lot of money into the Speed Car Club over the years, and you'll see the Dasco Supply Group logo on other people's cars as well, even that are racing against him. And he's given people like Kaiden and Daniel Harding opportunities to drive his cars. We did the deal with Gio last year. And he's got his young fellow Will now, who's now old enough to race and has been racing for a couple of years. And so that's all coming along as well. But yeah, he's a really great guy. Me and him have been doing things together for a long time now. But yeah, I'd say the premise of it is when you look at how he operates and how he does everything, and how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So he sets the bar pretty high, and that's something I want to be around, because it pushes you to be better and it pushes the team to be better. And it's kind of, if you get on the train and keep going. So yeah, that's how I see Dan, and he motivates me every day to try and do a better job here. So
how did that initial thing come about? Family, friends, or is it like a cold call around the pitch just trying to scrape mud?
No, you couldn't. You only pull off one cold call in your life, and I used mine in America. But no, funnily enough, my mum's a hairdresser and had been doing his mum's hair for the last 15 or 20 years. And I had always been at the Speedway with my dad as a young kid, and wanted to get a bit more involved when I got to sort of 16 or 17, and kind of knew that this person that my mum knew's son was racing or whatever, and my mum gave me his number, and I was 16 or 17. I was still in high school, and she said, "Hey, if you want to go help, you just call this guy." So now I'm calling this guy that I don't know, and he doesn't know who I am.
So you did call.
So it was a call.
So kind of, yeah. Which, but yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, right.
And to think that's how we've come to this today over a long period of time is pretty cool. And I like, you know, he gave a kid who didn't know anything a shot back then, even just to go and help scrape mud and learn how to mount tires and do all that. And he's done that with a lot of people and given a lot of people a lot of really cool opportunities. So I think that says a lot about the person that he is.
What about then? Do you see yourself as like when you're doing all this, speed car mechanic, a sprint car mechanic, or just a mechanic? Like, what were your own personal vision for where you wanted to go?
I didn't have. I just wanted to be working on race cars.
Yeah.
That was it, and it didn't really matter. I wanted to be a sprint car mechanic when I first started, but the way in was to go work on speed cars because I knew someone there, right? And then from there, I took a journey there to America and did whatever. But the year that I ran on the Outlaw Tour with Clyde Knipp, and then I came back here and I did World Series with Brian Brown, and I also worked on Dan's Midget. I think I did 112 races in a year. Like I just wanted to be a race car mechanic, and I spent no time at home. Those jobs didn't pay any good money. It was enough money to eat, but you were 18 or 19, and if you wanted to be a race car mechanic at that point, that's what it was. So there was no vision for sprint car mechanic or midget mechanic, or just wanted to be a race car mechanic. And I really wanted to get to the point where I could run a team and you know, learn the ins and outs of the cars and learn about the shocks and the motors and all the things you need, all those pieces to be able to run a team. You can't just be putting the cars together. So trying to get to that next level, I guess, would be the end goal.
But you've said it like, and you're right. You are lucky to get these opportunities to do all this stuff. But I always think they're also lucky to have a kid that's willing to work for a couple sausage rolls a week. You know what I mean? Like the amount of effort you put in. I know you're a kid and they've given you a chance, but think about like how much work you were doing for what you were receiving in return. Pretty wild.
Yeah, and like I guess for in Australia it's different because for 95% of people that are in the pit area helping out, they are just doing it because it's their mates or, you know, it's their friend that's racing, and that's cool. And that's a fun part about racing in Australia. There's a bit more mateship about it and you're hanging out with your mates. Obviously, once you get to sprint car teams and the Maddington Series and all this and traveling and that, there is a lot more paid guys running teams and all this stuff. But when you go and race in America, like them first couple of years, like it was 250 USD for a week, cash money to work, but you might do 85 hours of mountain tires and cleaning things and racing 5 times a week. So like some of those weeks it was like, hey, and it was nothing against them, but it was like, hey, we didn't make enough money this week, so can we pay you like double next week? So then now you're trying to split $250 over 2 weeks, eating noodles at night time and like no hotel rooms. We're living in the lounge of the truck. Like that was my bedroom. So like, yeah, it is crazy to think about, but that was just at the time, like just wanted to go race sprint cars so bad, and that was the opportunity. So it was what it was.
And just with that America trip, is that your first time over there this year, Kaiden?
No, I've been with my dad when I was a kid.
Okay.
We went over to watch Midget Week then. And then me and Liam actually went the year before.
Okay. Driving or watching?
Mostly watching.
Okay.
There was a vague bit of driving in there until we both got fired. But
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. And then, so with that, you obviously, I know it's the Dan Golding one, but J&S has been pretty pivotal in sort of getting you to where you are now. Just a quick shout out to them effectively. Like John and the rest of the crew obviously helped you get to where you are today.
Oh, definitely. I've only ever raced sprint cars with John. And, the amount of money he spent on me and my racing, I'm sure he could afford to buy, 3 or 4 houses or properties. I'm so thankful to John and Keith Giles as well, and Ray and everyone on that team. It's the opportunity they gave me is unbelievable. And, as much as I am sad that I couldn't do the next year with him, I hope that he could understand that this is an opportunity that I just couldn't pass up.
And then I guess given this opportunity, what's your expectations for the year on yourself? Like I know in your heart of hearts, what do you want? Like I always ask people, is it like I just want to win races or this, or is it an overall where you want to be at the end of the year? Like, is it just competing for wins? Like, where do you think you would be happy if you're looking back in 12 months' time of where you were?
Well, I've spent the last, 3 to 4 months working in here with Liam, seeing the level of perfection that he strives for. That coupled with the investment that Dan Golding's put in, I can't see any way for me that the year would be a success unless we're, champions at the end of the year. I think, I believe I could do it. Otherwise I wouldn't be wasting their time and money. So that's my goal.
Fuck yeah, I love that. That's sick. And just with your learning curve, Liam, to get where you are, who you have been on a lot of teams, but who do you think is the one person that sort of taught you the most?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess when you're young and you're the tyre guy and all you're doing is mountain tyres and cleaning, you're picking up stuff and you have to be observant. And maybe, Scotty Martin was the crew chief on the Selzy car when I was there, and that was good. And if you're observant, they're not maybe necessarily telling you everything straight to you, but you're picking stuff up and you're learning and you're watching them do stuff. But I spent the most time, me and Trevor Harding.
Yeah.
I was 3.5 years that I spent over there with them, and if anyone thinks or doesn't realise that he's one of the smartest people in the pit area, no matter where he goes in the country, then they're crazy, because, the way that guy thinks about the shocks and the wings and the motors, he's thinking about it different to everyone else already, and he's probably 2 steps ahead, and he does it all in chaos, and he's pretty open to probably admitting that himself. But yeah, to be able to work alongside him for those years and build cars with him and order parts with him and go through stuff with him. And we raced with so many different drivers and his brother, and built cars overnight and changed things and did all kinds of funky stuff. Yeah, like there's probably no bigger privilege or, the opportunity to do that. It's probably where I learned a lot of the stuff that I know.
And the same for you then, Kaden. Who do you reckon's taught you the most about driving? Is it following someone or like actual advice from someone? Who's taught you the most?
Probably a mix between like early my racing, my dad for sure, and then like once I got to sprint cars would definitely be Keith Giles and Graham Jones as well. Both of them two taught me a lot. Keith Giles taught me mostly by yelling at me. Graham Jones taught me mostly by talking to me. So it was like 2 different styles. But
what style do you like better? Are you happy with both?
I'd rather just shut up. Let me figure it out myself. Nah, I think I respond to both.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think sometimes, I do need a rev up like everyone does. And sometimes I respond to just, being sat down and explained to. But yeah, I'm kind of in the stage of my career now where I feel like I like to get to where Callum and Dane are. I can see that I need to take a step. And like some of the things that like Keith and Graham have taught me over the years, sometimes it takes a little bit for it to sink in, and then you start to realise what they've said, and you start to realise that it makes sense. So I'm hoping for next year to take get that next little kind of 10% that I'm looking for.
Is one of my favourite questions then, if you sit down, is there like one particular skill that you want to improve on for next year? Like not like I want to be faster in qualifying, it's like how you turn in or how you get off. Is there like one particular skill that you want to work on for next year or think you need to improve on?
Yeah, I think restarts for me have always been it's weird because in like when I race with Midget, my restarts are one of my positive things, but in sprint cars for whatever reason I just always seem to lose 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah.
And it's like incredibly frustrating because then you spend the next 5 laps getting those spots back. So that's something that I'm looking to improve on next year, and I'm sure with Liam's help and guidance I'll be able to do that.
With that, Liam, I hear it a fair bit. People talk about their engine stumbling on a restart. What is that? Is that like in someone's head, or is that actually happening?
It's actually happening.
Yep.
It's normally some sort of fueling issue.
Okay.
Either you have too much fuel or you don't have enough fuel,
Okay.
or you got some of the the fuel settings aren't right. And some people say there's things the driver can do in the car to try and prevent that, but a lot of it just comes down to working with your motor builder and making sure that your fuel settings are right. And that's really that's kind of on the crew chief there to. If you're a crew chief and you're telling your driver that it's in his head that the motor's stumbling, maybe you need to work on your stuff a little.
Okay.
I will remember that.
Yeah. And then with you then, Liam, like what's what's that? Maybe not you need to improve on, but what's something that you're going to focus on this year? Like, yeah, I don't even know, mate, but carburetor settings or whatever. Is there something like you're like, fuck, I feel like I could be better in a certain area, or I really want to make sure I zero in on like a particular thing?
My biggest thing, and it's a constant, and it hasn't changed, and I don't think it'll ever change, is like I want to be not a master, but I want to master all of the parts of the car, right? So I don't just want to be the guy that knows everything about the shocks, but I have to call my motor builder at the track because I don't know how to set the high speed. You know what I mean? I want to know about all the parts as much as possible, and I want to know how they work together, and I want to know when I'm changing them, and I'm changing all these little things what I'm doing. So mine is bringing all the components together, because it's very easy to say, well, you change this one thing and it changes that. There's a lot of people that can tell you that even without working on the cars. But when you start doing it all at the same time and, really bringing the whole package together is the focus.
Yeah. And then with those restarts, then I hear like buzz on the tyres. Like, is that trying to keep those tyres from spinning? Is that like the biggest issue that you have, or what's that when they talk about like buzzing the tyres, getting off the line or buzz them? Is it just literally just hammering it too hard?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, for me, I feel like my problem's the opposite. Like I'm always trying to keep the tyres under me too much. And like when I watch Clay View and I watch Callum restart, like he gets to the pit gate in turn 3, and then you just see like the tyres just stand up, and then the car just takes off. Whereas I'm like kind of creeping my way into it, and by that time the guy behind me already knows that I'm taking off. Yeah. So he's preempted that, and next minute I'm getting slid by like 3 cars going into turn 1. So yeah, I think I just need to be a little bit more aggressive with that initial throttle application.
What about that one night, mate? I think you got Marcus in that. I didn't think there was anything in that, but those boys went. That was a good restart. Like I did not see anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, but the track was a little heavier then, so I did kind of just be more aggressive with it because I had the grip under my foot. Yeah, they got upset about it. But that's right.
That's right. I don't think you go for a whole season without making someone upset. But then what's a strength of yours then? Like, is it like what's something that you see on the track or a scenario where you feel like, yeah, fuck, now they're in my world? Is it like a sleek track or whatever it might be? Like what's the ace up your sleeve?
Slick straightaways and when there's a top and a bottom.
Okay.
I think that's whenever there's a top and a bottom and they're even, I think I have generally pretty good racecraft, and especially like couple that with like super slick straightaways. That's kind of up my alley.
Is that because you see how it develops quicker, or just actual decisions when to go low, when to go high?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. Yeah. I think just reading the track, like that's something that Keith Giles always taught me, was to always go searching for which line's better, and sometimes you have to experiment and be creative out there as well. Sometimes it's not just running the bottom or the top. Sometimes you got to get in there and diamond off, or sometimes you got to slide yourself, and that's kind of something I pride myself on being able to pick up.
I've seen it when Kyle Larson was here, and I don't want to always talk about him, but he just had confidence enough to actually try lines when he was out there. Is it like, are you apprehensive to try lines in the middle of a race, like because there's guns around you, like, well, I don't know if I just want to try to see if something's there because I might lose a spot. Like, is that difficult to sort of manage mid-race? Yeah,
100%. But it also depends on your your circumstance, right? Yeah. So if you're out there leading and everything's feeling good and you're on the top, like why on earth would you go try the bottom? You probably wouldn't. But then the guy behind you is like, well, fuck, I can't catch him at the top. Like I'm going to go hit the bottom. And he hits the bottom and finds that it works. And next minute you're getting passed on the bottom. So it's one of those things where it's generally, when the track's like that, there's a top and a bottom, it's always better being the guy that's running second compared to the guy that's leading.
With that, Kaiden said that he watches those Clay per-view backs. Do you analyse that much, or do you focus on what you saw like with your own eyes at the track? When you're looking back to see what the car was doing, are you looking at Clay per-view, or are you just trying to like reflect on what you actually saw?
We're doing both. We're doing both. So I'll generally go back and I'll wait a couple of days before I go back and watch the Clay per-view or the 7+ or whatever, kind of let the mind settle. And sometimes if you watch it too soon, you're still caught up in what you thought at the time, and that's not always right. So,
maybe looking to reinforce what you're already thinking.
Yeah. You're trying to build a case for why you thought your car was so good when it wasn't. Yep. So I'll wait till Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll sit down with Race Monitor or whatever and go through the laps and watch it all, and then try and pick apart and sit with your notebook as well and see what you did and lap times, and then kind of watch the guys that were either faster or slower and see what they're doing, and try and make some decisions there and take some more notes in the notebook, and then move on to the next week.
With that, then, like, you obviously you think quite highly of Trevor Harding and his car. Is that like a car that you focus on? There, do you look at Trevor Jolly's car and think, like, what's that doing versus mine? Like, is there certain, like, cars, and I don't care if you name them, whatever, that you look at your car versus them because you regard what they do?
Not so much in terms of, I just like to watch my own car.
Yep.
Because you don't know what they've got or what they're doing or what wing they have or what offset wheel that, you know what I mean? If you get too caught up in someone else's car, you can get yourself all caught up. So I'm looking at the times on Race Monitor more than anything, and maybe you can watch the attitude of their car. Someone who's really fast, you watch the attitude, and hey, maybe they're a little laid left, or maybe they're picking up the right rear a little faster than everyone else. So, and then you can watch your car and, hey, we're not doing that. Well, what can I change on my car to do that? But I'm not thinking too much about anyone else's car in terms of their setup or anything, because you've got no control over that, nor do you actually know. So it's, I would be wasting my time, I think.
And then with that, you obviously talk about trying to get a really comprehensive grasp on all aspects of the car. Do you have any, like, on-track stuff that you focus on, or do you just let the drivers drive, or are you going, look, this is where the track is? Because, mate, you would have seen that track as much as anyone. Like, are you just the car, or are you also trying to go, let's do this on the track, or I think the track's going to do this? How much input do you have with that?
The most input maybe I'm looking to have with that, and of course I'm watching the track and I'm watching everyone else, but I think qualifying is your biggest part, where maybe you can have a impact on what goes on. When it comes to racing, I try to stay out of it, unless it's, you know, hey, in the last heat race, everyone went to the top in turn one and this guy slowed down and hit the bottom past everyone. Unless you can give some sort of insight like that, there's some like anomaly that's like, you know, crazy. But qualifying is the biggest one, because you can watch them times tick off, and you can watch every single car and every single lap. And generally there's a fast way around the racetrack. And if you're not watching and you're not giving your driver a bit of insight into where the fast line is that day, and as we know, sometimes you can pick a lap through the middle, or sometimes you've got to rip around the fence, or sometimes you've got to diamond it. Like, it just, so that would be the biggest part of where you might have a little insight. But I try and stay out of the racing, because I'm not out there racing, nor will I ever be. So I stay out of that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask when you were talking about it. You always spoke about how you wanted to be on the spanners, mate. No ever thoughts of getting behind the wheel?
No, it doesn't interest me at all, to be fair. I've been down to the end of year drive days with the midget or whatever, and we've done that, and, you know, horrible out there. So, but
yeah,
it
if you'd
doesn't
seen him run a midget, you'd understand why he's not interested.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's okay. It's no, I honestly, being in the workshop and working on them and going to the racetrack and you know, working on the trailers and getting organised, that's the fun part for me. I don't want to be in there racing.
With that, then, what about this year's design? And if we do a clip or whatever, I'll bang it up. But, mate, the car looks as sick as any I've ever seen. Who sort of has their hand over the design and the look of the car? Because the DJR is like the top end of teams, like, their look is immaculate, and Dan Golding's stuff always presents as nice as there is. And I don't know if you remember, Buddha and Trav did that little sort of like Indiana Speed Week, like post race or post like US trip. Tom was saying that your guys' cars over there were like the nicest cars in the whole pits, bar none. Who looks after the design for you guys?
So again, that just comes back to Dan Golding and how he likes to do things and how he presents, and it's how his business, Dasco Supply Group, presents, and it's his brand QV presents the same way. If you go over there and buy a spotlight or something, it's, you know, you open the packaging and you're like, wow, someone's put a lot of thought and detail into this. Or even if I go grab you a Dasco Supply Group catalog, like, someone's put a lot of hours into making this catalog perfect, and that gets shown in our race cars as well. So he's normally the ideas guy, but behind sort of what he wants to see. Like, and when we were at Midget Week this year, he came and he said, hey, I think I want to do a white car this year. I want to change it up. And I was like, oh, everything's black. You know, like all the wings are black and all the tail tanks are black. And but at the end of the day, none of that matters. He's I'm going to, you know, we've worked with Heater Design now for a couple of years, and he does really good work. And obviously there's a lot of people using him as well. And he messages Heater, and they kind of work through it together and make the changes. And he's got his vision, and he knows what he wants, and he'll keep working on it until he gets what he wants. And it always pays off because people always are very complimentary of the designs that come out. And yeah, it's a combination of his vision and Heater's work. So
where's Dan at then? Like, cause he's a team owner, car owner, but he can drive like fuck as well. Like last year, he lose to Daniel Hardigan, who can drive well in that like 360 show, one of his first ones. Like he can still drive. Does he have any plans to race the midget or a sprint car at all this year?
Yeah, he's still got some aspirations to race, and yeah, like he is a racer. Like he's not someone who can afford a race car and does it because of that. Like he's a racer. Yep. Like he's won way too many midget races now to say that they're genuine race wins, and he's won them on the top and he's won them on the bottom, and like he's beat some really good guys, and he's won at Geraldton, and you know what I mean, different tracks and different series, and he got in a wing car there for the first time last year. We put that 360 together, and we went to the first race and had to start off the back of all the heats, and then he managed to, you know, get his way up to contending for the lead there by the end of the feature in his first night, and it's completely slick to the boards. He's got his right front buried in the fence in turn 3, and I'm like, oh, like we're having a dip over there. But yeah, he's a racer, like and he is going to race his 360 again this year, and he's going to have a dabble in the midget when the opportunity comes up, and he still loves his racing, and he's also busy racing with Will there with his Outlook car and his bitumen car. So yeah, he's not just a team owner; he is a racer, and he is a really good racer. And yeah, you know, half the time he's making me look good out there when we're going racing together because he's having a crack.
What about the young fella? He won a race over in America, eh?
He did, yeah. So they're lucky enough to put together a deal with Driven Midwest at the time, which is Factory 14 now, I believe, which is a junior sprint, which is like a sort of like a smaller version of a Formula 500. I wasn't there. I don't necessarily know what motors they are, but it's bigger than an Outlaw car. They got the wings on them. They're racing on shocks and everything. Yep. And he's racing against some of the kids that, you know, run up the front at Tulsa Shootout. Yeah. And, I think he ran 5 or 6 nights in total, maybe with a practice day. And on his last night there, he went and picked off a win, which is pretty cool because I don't know how many Australians won on a dirt track in America this year, but he's one of them, and he's just turned 10 years old. So it's pretty cool for him. And yeah, he's a hell of a gasser as well. And his racing's coming along real good. And he loves the sport and being around the sprint cars as well.
Mate, I'll take you back then to the Aussie title here. Like it seemed to be, not a grand final, but you guys obviously had a massive emphasis on the speed car national title here when you had the 2 cars, Dan Harding and yourself, Kaiden. Like, yeah, just the heartbreak and talk us through that feature race. You guys off the front?
Yeah. Yep. I think I was top points and Dano was second. But then CV beat Dano in the pole shuffle, and then he beat me as well. Yep. But then CV didn't start, so
yeah, had an engine or something.
Yeah, so it was us on the front row.
What did you think when that happened then? Like, were you just like, oh fuck?
I was honestly more nervous than CV.
Yeah, okay.
I would have rather CV there than Dano because I knew that he was. Yeah, I knew how determined he was to win the race, and I also knew that he had exactly the same gear as what I have, right? Whereas when it's against CV, I felt like I had a little bit of a car advantage. So,
okay.
Yeah, but it just didn't play out. You know, they tilled the bottom up real good, and it, for want of a better word, it really fucked us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how they don't at least let you guys know about that sort of stuff, hey? Just this is what we're planning on doing.
Yeah.
But Buddha liked it for a bit. What were you thinking, Liam, then? You obviously, was it 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 you would have been rolling out of, and then you've seen him have to pull in and you're off the front. Like, I've seen you around the track and you're as passionate as any. Like you want to win and you want your cars to win. Like, talk about your roller coaster of emotions going through that feature.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty nervous standing there when your 2 cars are starting on the front row of an Australian title. Especially, it's such a long road to get to that point with those titles. Like 2 nights, 4 heat races each, and I think out of 8 heat races we'd won 7 out of 8. Like from the back, from the front, it didn't matter. Like we won. So like we're having you're having a pretty good weekend, and had a pretty good. I think we started on the pole on the Wednesday night as well, and backed it up to 3rd because I didn't know what I was doing. But you're pretty nervous leading into watching your 2 cars roll off the front row. But you got a sense of you're proud as well because all the boys have done such a good job all week. but I also had this sick feeling that it had been going too good.
Yeah, okay.
You can't go race 3 times in a row with 2 cars and just everything's just going so smoothly. But yeah, and then obviously the race doesn't play out how you want, and that's just part of racing. But yeah, it's honestly you feel pretty sick when you're watching that. When you're watching them rock, you're trying to take in the moment because it's cool watching that, but you're also like, geez, this is stressful.
And with that, then obviously with the speed cars, you can't go out into the middle. What do you prefer? Like the sprint cars, you're obviously out there for the work area, and you get to watch from the infield. What's better for you in terms of like maybe your emotions and looking at the car? Which one do you prefer?
It's probably safer for everyone in the crowd if I'm in the infield because I've been known to throw a spanner. But I think maybe I probably prefer the infield with the sprint car because my mind's a little bit takes my mind off the nerves a little bit because I'm also in the back of my mind I'm thinking about the possibility of having to go to the work area and what wheels are on top of the mule and you know what tools do I need to grab. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about that already.
You're still working.
Yeah, you're still working.
You have some control.
But when you're just sitting up there in the crowd, that's when you got nothing else to think about apart from those 2 cars rolling around and you're hoping they fire off and you're hoping they make it. And when they're starting side by side, you got to make it through turn 1 as well. So. Yeah.
With it's obviously such an achievement to have those cars up off the front there. Like, given how the race played out, does it take away the fact that you could go back and look at it and be proud that they were off the front? Like, do you get to reflect and go, well, we did 98% of it right, but just not the end. Just didn't go the way we wanted.
It's an interesting mix, but at the end of the day, we went there to do one job, and that was to put an Aussie 1 on one of these DGR cars. And, you know, so many resources went into that year to put them 2 cars together. Like, we built it, like, up until then, we hadn't really run a proper 2-car team. And originally, you know, we were going to run it with Daniel Harding and the boss. And the boss ended up having to have a surgery on his neck that year with an injury that he had. And, you know, came across with Kaiden and everything was playing out good. But, yeah, it's... I don't know. We went there to do one job, and I find that at the end of the day, we didn't get that number 1. And I'm never going to walk around and say, geez, remember that, you know, how cool was it when we started on the front row of the title? Like, that doesn't mean anything to me at the end of the day. Like, unless I have a tail tank with a number 1 on it or a car that I can hang from the roof in here with a number 1 on it, like, that's really what we went there to do. So, it's hard to be proud. It is like, okay, yeah, it's cool. And I'm proud of all the boys in the team because all their efforts still went in and everyone did such a good job all week, but we didn't get the result, and that's what we really went there for. So,
what about then, Kaden? Who would you prefer to be? Like, do you think, looking back, you or Buddha? Like, being off the front and then it not going your way, or leading as much as Buddha did and then having to come in? Which scenario would you choose if you had to?
Oh, neither. Neither sound great, to be honest.
No.
I guess would have been a fair bit more heartbreaking for Buddha, I'd say. But also, like, for me, it was tough because we kind of won a bunch of races leading up to it as well. Yeah. And it just felt like we were the inform kind of team. And just the way it kind of unfolded, man, it just felt so, like, anticlimactic to me. Like, I built my way all the way up to this race. Then it was like I kind of read the track wrong in the first few laps, so that put me back. And then just as I kind of start to find my feet, like, we have a component failure that was like, wasn't our engine builder's fault, wasn't Liam's fault, it was no one's fault. It was just a random component failure, and then you're just out. And it's like you're out 20 laps into a 40-lap race. It's like, yeah, it's just a really weird emotion.
Well, let's get that taste out your mouth, Liam. What's the best race that you've been a part of? Is there like a win that you've been on the crew for someone, or even with Dan? What's like the best race you've been a part of as a crew guy?
Oh, there's probably a couple that come to mind, and one is winning with Dominic Selzy at Knoxville. There was just something special about winning in a Wing 410 car at Knoxville. Had been there for so long, and we'd been working, and we'd won some small races that year. But to go win at Knoxville during Nationals week and see that 41 take that turn into victory lane is with all the hard work that those boys on that team had put in, and I was there obviously, but that was pretty special. And then the first time me and the boss man won a midget race, which is at the Perth Motorplex season opener 1 year. That was pretty special because we'd been racing together for a long time, and I don't know how many second place trophies are sitting around, and we refused to put them up because that's not what we do it for. But we had just raced together for so long, and he'd been so close. So winning that first race with him was was pretty special. And the other one is when Daniel Harding won in the midget and he sprint car on the same night. I'll go to my grave saying that people just will never give that the respect that it deserves. But he'd literally driven a midget 3 times in his life. And you know how hard it is to win a sprint car race, but to go double down in one night. And I was only working on the midget, but for him to do that and be a part of that, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah,
that is wild, hey? I will have a look at who is on the podium of that. Do you remember the midget podium?
Oh no, I know that we won. I know that we won, and I was pretty pumped. And then I pushed the car back, and I think it was just me. I don't even think I had any crew guys that night. And then I just went and sat on the hill and watched him dominate the sprint car race. And I was like, geez, that's pretty special when you look at the names of the people that have done that before. I just think that's a pretty cool moment.
And then moving forward, I'm just going to get through this last little reminiscent thing. The US trip this year, I guess, just talks through. Obviously, the very first night for you guys, you're off the front there. Like, were you just thinking this is going to be easy, or what? Where was your mind at starting off the front row? Is that Extreme Outlaw, that first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Coles County.
Yeah.
Yep. But what was that like?
Oh, it was cool. It was weirdly when I looked at the track from the outside, I thought this is a track that's not going to suit me at all. But it ended up being the track that probably suited me the most out of all the ones we went to. So, I can't say I looked too much into starting on the front row. It just kind of was what it was. And I knew that the speed we had, I felt like I could stay at the front. I wasn't sure if I could hang on for the win, but I felt like I could definitely be a contender. In all honesty, we're probably better the second night. We were just buried at the back end of the top 10 there. And but yeah, no, it was good.
Was it a different type of racing? Like, because I know that, like, from talking to other boys, they just like say that they just move you out the way. If you hold them up for a lap or two, they just move you out the way. Is that what it felt like for you out there?
I guess, yeah, they're definitely more aggressive. But for me, it kind of almost felt like more normal than racing here, because I guess I'm pretty aggressive in a midget as it is. So racing against those guys was kind of felt almost like home a little bit. It's just everyone was racing like how I would normally race, and everyone was beating and banging on each other, but there was no quarter given, but there was no quarter asked either. So it was just kind of was what it was, and everyone was happy. And yeah, it was actually like probably the most fun I've had in a race car was the second night at Coles County.
Yeah. And then what about you, Liam? Obviously over there, you're sort of running the show and that. Like, how was that experience for you? Good, or did you learn much? Talk through that.
Yeah, it's good. And again, like we went there fully prepared, and we spent a lot of time planning that trip. And obviously taking your own cars there and doing all that is a massive undergoing, and the resources required to do that were huge. Like, we shipped them cars in March to be able to go and do that. And so the effort from all the boys and for Dan Golding to make that happen. And I know that's something that he's wanted to do for a long time, kind of like a bucket list thing. But as much as it was a bucket list, we were going there to try and do well. Like, we're not going there to have a holiday. We're not going there to mess around or say, oh, we're just here to have a little fun. Like, we're going there to have a dip. And it's stressful, but, you know, the first night that we hot lapped at Coles County, I may have served up the worst race cars I've ever put on a racetrack. Like, and obviously having 2 cars there, you got a bit of a, you know, I think maybe Kaiden hot lap first, and Dano was already in the chute, so I couldn't make any changes. I just walked over there and I said, hey, just please come back alive, because Kaiden nearly died out there from what I gave him. So, like, just we'll work on it after hot laps. But, like, it was, you know, the track would have fit in this workshop here. It's so small. But, yeah, it was an experience, and I did learn a lot. And we're parked up at Spike. You know, we got Spike chassis, and they helped us out there with letting us use their workshop. And right across the road from CSI, and we've been on CSI shocks now for 6 or 7 years, both on the wing car and the midget. So to be exposed to all those guys, and, you know, Garrett from CSI is over there helping us with our right rear shocks and helping us getting dialed in with what we're struggling with, and the guys at Spike helping us with our frames and maybe what we can do different here, or hey, we're going to this track, they help us with what gear we need to start on. And yeah, we learned so much. It changes everything being exposed to that sort of stuff.
This year, obviously, yeah, the Dan Golding deal. Is it exciting for you guys? Because as just a pure fan with no skin in the game, like, it's so awesome to have a new team, and you've driven before, but like a new team and a new driver in a seat, and then yeah, some other seats have fallen around. And it just feels like this season's so exciting with what everyone's putting together and putting on the track. Do you guys get excited for a season like what we've got coming up, or is it all just pretty normal?
I mean, I'm probably the most excited I've been to get back in the race car maybe ever. Like it's been the longest off season, and we went to America and it still feels like it's been the longest off season. So yeah, no, it's really cool thing to be a part of, and yeah, hopefully Liam's excited. I don't know.
I don't know if excited's a word. This time of year, you just kind of focused on doing your job. So there's so much importance on being organised and having everything ready and having all your ducks in a line. So this time of year, I don't know if I'm excited. This time of year is almost stressful because you're working so hard to get everything lined up, and you know you're getting all your sponsors on the cars and crew shirts and all these other things that a lot of people probably never even consider go into a race team. And you're working on organising your trailer, and you're working on all these things. So I don't think too much about getting excited. Maybe when we start putting cars on the ground and putting them on scales and doing the fun stuff that you do before you go race, then I'll start to tick over. But yeah, this time of year, just head down working and trying to do your best job.
Do you, like, if you guys are to win the championship in March or whenever the grand final is that the work that's getting done right now in September? Is that what leads to victory there, or is it like a bit later on? Like when's the real work in the shed sort of start, do you think?
So the work you're doing now is making your work easier when it comes to racing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you're going to lighten your load now by being more organised and more prepared and making sure your spares are right, not questioning your spares, or you're not questioning if you need, let's say you need to use your spare car, it better be 110%. You better not have left something loose on it, or it better be exactly the same as your first car, and the pedals better be in the right spot. Because if you jumped in the spare car and the brake pedal's in the wrong spot, well, it might as well not be in there. So when all the work you're doing now, it's all the little things, and it's things that maybe people never consider. And it might be some simple as something as like a front wing post, but are they all the same? Are they all drilled out so they all slide in and out properly in case we have to change one in the work area? Like all these things. That's what, when I talk about working now, that's the sort of stuff you're working on a day-to-day basis, that you're thinking, hey, I could not do this, but I don't want to be the one explaining to someone why we couldn't change the wing in the work area because I didn't do the work in winter.
Yeah, is that stressful then? Like, I'm just thinking about that, like, because that would make you look like an idiot if one post wasn't drilled out. Like, is it stressful now, or have you got a process in place to almost like quality assurance, all this stuff, and make sure everything's Mickey Mouse when it does get rolled out?
You just don't leave any stone unturned. And it's not stressful because I think maybe being exposed to the American teams and being on teams that are, on the Outlaw Tour, one of the guys that I work with, Brandon Hickman, he worked with Sammy Swindell, and he's just pedantic about everything. And we never went home knowing that something was, we'll just finish that off in the morning. Like, he stayed at the shop until it was done. So I just work the same way here, and we've been preparing cars. It doesn't matter if they're sprint cars or midgets. You prepare them the same way. You don't leave any stone unturned. You don't, hey, I'll just leave this loose and tighten it up tomorrow. I'll just put this spare away, but I'll make sure it's right next time I go in that cabinet. You don't do that. You just have to go through every single thing, and you have to be patient, and you have to get it all right. So it's not stressful, but it's just part of the process, and you just have to be willing to commit to it and chip away.
Well, so that means, Kaden, like, you've got to come in here, like on these Wednesdays or Saturdays or whatever, you're coming in, making sure your seat fits in the spare car, making sure the brakes, like, that's part of your role now too. Is that what you do when you come in?
Well, yeah, pretty much whatever Liam tells me to do, more or less. But yeah, it's just, in all honesty, I mainly come in just because it gives me confidence as a driver to see someone like Liam working on your stuff, or working on the stuff that you're going to be racing to the degree that he does. It's like, man, like, I feel like I'm on a par with everyone at the very least. So yeah, that's the main reason why I come in. I'm certain he doesn't need my help. I'm certain I make it worse for him most of the time. But yeah, and also I enjoy it. I enjoy coming in and working on the cars. And I mean, man, I'd be here every night if you'd let me. But
yeah, well, I'm like excited, and like I keep looking at the cars while I'm doing this, like, and I'm like, fuck, this is that cool to be in here. These things are like a work of art. What's it like walking in here knowing that, like, these are for you and you get to race them?
Yeah, it's honestly crazy. It's stressful for me to work on them because I'm like, man, I don't want to fuck anything up.
Someone's got to drive this.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, and like I said, the commitment that Dan Golding's put forward is honestly second to none. I've been involved in a few like really good operations and really good teams, and man, there's just Dan Golding is second to none with what he puts forward and the way he presents everything and the level of detail it goes to with everything. It's really cool to be a part of.
What's this standard like, Liam, now then? Like, this is as good as you can get. Like, I can see, I haven't even looked closely at the cars. It's as good as you can get. But, like, I've done, like, Jason Pride. His stuff's as good as you can get. Like, the Crickies, Callum Williamson, Keynes, Coils. Like, everyone's stuff's, like, does it drive you to try and lift your standard even higher every time, knowing what 15th place is doing?
Yeah, and at the end of the day in this sport, you can't outbuy someone.
Yeah.
You can't take your, it doesn't matter who you are, you can't take your money and say I'm just gonna buy this stuff and it will make my stuff better. Not possible, because everyone has really good stuff. So it's just coming down to who's working on it and how much effort's going in and the attention to detail on the small things. That's where the differences are being made. But yeah, the level's super high through all the teams at this point. So it does push you to be better, and if you're not willing to try and be better, then you might get left behind.
Yeah, I do wonder as well with it, like, is it not what's more important, but I wonder, like, if you could put a percentage on getting, like, the right car out onto the track, or, like you said, knowing and being able to adjust from that point once it's not right. You know, you want to know the shocks, the engine, the wings, all of that. Like, is that more important, or is it more important to get, like, your baseline where you roll out, or is it knowing what to change when it's not working?
That's a good question. I hadn't thought about that before. It's probably, I mean, the baseline's something you're constantly probably evolving, and, you know, the tyres change and the way they prep the track changes throughout the year. And so your baseline's constantly evolving, and maybe you try something different one week and it works, and then maybe you're starting there the next week because, hey, we should have started here last week. But the ability to tune on the car through the night is probably going to separate, you know, the really good guys and the guys that maybe aren't running as good. So that's probably almost more important. Yeah, the ability to tune through the night is definitely important.
And this year, I've seen on your little driver profile on the midgets one, your favourite track's Albany. Is that still the case?
Probably be up there. Yep.
So, like, in terms of the series, that Maddington Toyota Sprintcar Series is obviously going to Kalgoorlie, Geraldton, Bunbury potentially, and Albany. Which one are you most looking forward to besides the Motorplex to get in and ripping in?
Oh, definitely Albany.
Yep,
100%. Yeah.
You love it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's I've mainly raced it in a midget, and I've done like a World Series Sprint Cars show there. And yeah, I won.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really cool track, really cool, great midget track.
Yeah.
I wish they raced midgets there more than once a year. But yeah, no, I think that's gonna be a really good show, and I know they'll get like, you know, 25 odd sprint cars there around Albany. Is gonna be badass. Yeah.
Do you guys have like a rough number for how many entrants are going to be in there? Like, have you heard rumours or anything? Like I was saying before, like the wingless are looking at maybe having to go to like the WX prefix because there might be over 100 wingless registered, like, so just in WA. So like from what I know, there's a couple of extra cars coming in, and like 25, I feel like there could be 30 at those country shows. Like, do you guys know any of that, or you don't care, you just focus on what you're doing?
No, I got no idea, to be fair. I do hear rumblings of lots of people with 410s that are going to do some more 410 racing this year or get into it or whatever. So whether those guys add to the country numbers, I don't know. But I don't look into who else is going. You do the same preparation and you show up and that's it.
And then same thing for you. Which one of those country tracks are you looking forward to getting to most to sort of flex your skill set? And then what event, and it can't be high limit if it's going to be high limit, like one of the actual Maddington rounds, what's the one that you're looking forward to the most at the Motorplex?
I think maybe I'm looking forward to going to Geraldton.
Yep.
We just went there with the midget once, and it was a good fun little track that night. It was kind of cowboy up when we went there, and you had to get up on the wheel, and I honestly can't imagine sprint cars going around there because it felt pretty small with the midgets. But I think that'll just be a complete game changer for everyone. I don't know how many of these guys would have been there before, especially in a 410 car. So that'll be a bit of fun, and you get a little bit creative with what you got to do, because it's definitely different to what we normally do. In terms of a Maddington round, maybe the WA title paired up with that John Day Speedcar night.
Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know if you know exactly or not, but do you guys have like a speed car schedule or anything like that, or is it just solely focusing on this, and then if something in the midget pops up, you'll jump in it?
We don't really have a schedule for the midget. I know the boss is going to run a couple of races when he wants to, and pick and choose them as he pleases. Whether Kaiden runs one, I don't know, but it might be fun to roll the 71 out there for something where there's a bit of money on the line and see if we still got it. Yeah,
well, hey, the border's pulled out. He's out. He's back in the wingos, mate. All right. I'm really keen on the season. Mate, I really hope you boys have a real good crack at it. But I find doing these, everyone's a good bloke. Like, and you guys compete against each other every week, so it's like there's always that animosity because you're competing or whatever. And no one seems to intermingle in the pits. But yeah, there's a heap of good dudes in the pits, and yeah, you guys are one of them. And yeah, hopefully the Dan Golding Racing, mate, is up and about this year. I love the King of the Wings.
Oh yeah, why is that? Just
the fact that these guys can make changes, that like they can put the cameras around and you can hear what they're talking to each other about, and you can see who's calm and who's not. And I always reference everything that I see around the pits, and like I hear people talk about, oh, we need to do a setup or this and that, but I don't think anywhere near enough emphasis put on like how the team environment is, whether people are cohesive and if everyone's having fun, because everyone who's winning seems to have fun. Like, and when I look back at the footy teams, like if people are arguing or yelling or whatever, and it's almost the King of the Wings pit stops like a snapshot of that. Like, are you calm? Are you making good decisions? And I just like to visually observe how people are going about it and what they're actually doing when they're making those changes.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, the pressure's on. The clock's literally ticking on how long you have to make them changes, and you've been able to watch your car for, somewhere between 15 and probably 25 laps. So you've got, it's just you and the notes that you have in your head and what you know about your race car and your driver, and maybe you're watching the lap times as well and what your track position is, and then you got to make some calls there. And I don't know, maybe your driver tells you not to touch it because you might fuck it up. But
would you listen?
Yeah.
Driver feedback.
If he said, "Hey, leave it alone, do not touch it," you're in a good spot, and he feels good, and he's figured it out, and he feels like he's going forwards, or you're in a good spot or whatever, and he tells you to leave it alone, you leave it alone, because that's and then the risk is if you do touch it, he told you to leave it alone, well, he might be throwing his steering wheel at you when you come back in. But no, you got to have faith in each other, right? So, but if you really thought you needed to make a change and he told you to leave it alone, maybe you try and talk about it. But if he's pretty dead set, you trust him, and you're a team, and you win and you lose together.
And with that, like, are you calm enough in the car now, Kaden, that just that as an example, knowing like you're coming in for a pit stop soon, are you calm enough to race, but also try and be aware of what the car's doing, what you want it to do, or is that just you just absorb that into how you actually drive now?
Yeah, I think I am. I think I'm calm enough to kind of have a good feel of what the car's doing and what I might need or what I might need to change. But as a racer, like as a driver, man, I hate that pit stop.
Yeah, okay.
I wish we just did like 40 laps straight, because it just gives like, I just want everyone to go out there, and as a driver, I just want everyone to have like exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then we can just make the difference. But it's one of those deals, definitely throws like a spanner in the works of the whole race night, and it definitely does make it exciting.
Because it's just something different, like that, and those shootouts, like they did for that midget title, but in a sprint car, like one-on-one, those things are sick. I don't know if they're doing that for the Barbagallo race again. I don't think they did it last year. I think they did it year before. But those things, just something different as well to watch. Like, have you done any of those, what do they call them, shootouts?
Pole shuffles.
Yeah. In a sprint car?
Probably not many in a sprint car. I think I did a few in Darwin last year.
Yep.
Or maybe one in Darwin last year, but yeah, mainly in midgets.
Mate, you might not want to. They might get you on those restarts.
They will.
All right. We've got some questions. I've cooked the Facebook stuff again, so there's probably half of them I wasn't going to read out anyway, mate. But I'll leave their names off of them because stuff it, I'll do it. So Cameron Stathy, he wanted to know about Liam, about your first time working in America as a crew guy, living conditions and pay. I reckon we probably covered that. Living conditions was a couch.
it was a
scraping
couch.
mud, and
Yeah.
$250.
$250
Sometimes.
if you were lucky to get it. Yeah.
And then Big Gav Migro, the man behind the scenes there. How much? Well, he says you boys. I think you hit the gym as well a little bit, Liam. But how much like physical training or are you doing in the lead up to the season? Is that something you've adopted, or have you always done that?
Probably more so this off season than ever before. But yeah, generally 3 to 4 times a week, and like probably 3 times a week in the gym, and at least one 10-kilometer or 7-kilometer run, something like that.
Yeah, there ever been anyone that's done any sort of like studies on what you're doing in a car and trying to like develop a program for it?
In America, yeah, they have a whole place in Indiana. It's called Pit Fit.
Yep.
And they basically do just speedway guys, NASCAR guys, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Dominic's not found that joint then.
No.
Dan Harding, 12. Ask Crabman about his podcast idea and the inspiration behind it. Who's Crabman first?
I have no idea who Kaiden is.
Oh, it's not me.
It's you, Kaden. Why Crabman? Can you say it on air?
I can. It's because when we were in America, I ate a lot of food.
Okay.
And you said I have hollow legs like a crab.
What's the podcast idea?
I have no idea what he's just trying to make me seem stupid, I'm pretty sure. But
Kai Blight. Is there a certain late model driver that you'd put in the midget for a show in Albany?
no.
Mate, I tell you, if there's one person that can drive in Albany, it's him. Like this year at Easter, what he did in a late model was unbelievable. Like I've never seen anyone drive as good as Kai has at Albany this year. Like over Joe Chalmers, like who can wheel, mate. I want to say like nearly lapped him. It was unbelievable how good Kai was around Albany.
Yeah, he's a hell of a talent, and me and him go back and forwards every now and then. If he wins, flick him a message, hey, good job, or he'll message me about something, and then we always joke about him. Maybe he wants to get in the midget or whatever, and I think it was last year they might have raced at Albany or something, and I was like, hey, I know a guy that's from those areas, and would have a crack at that. But yeah, he is a hell of a driver, and watching him win that Aussie title there was pretty special.
Magic, eh? I think about what Ryan Cricky said is that the guys spend more time out of the car than in it, and like he's as good as like anyone in terms of that. Like he speaks well, charismatic, he's good, he pumps up his sponsors, he's always talking about his crew guys. Like I would love to see what Kai could do in something else. So we'll keep it up our sleeve, Kai. Bam Bam, what number do you want on your race car? Can't choose the ones you've used already.
71.
Do you have a favourite number?
Probably 57.
57.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Why is that?
Just literally because my dad used it.
Okay.
And he only used it because he couldn't have 55.
Okay.
So there's honestly nothing special.
Well, that's as good a reason as any. What's your favourite number, Liam?
Oh, I don't have
one.
I couldn't care
I feel
less.
like one Oz is your favourite number.
If you put a 1 on one of them cars, that would be pretty cool.
I'll read them before I read them out. All right, so this is obviously for you, Kaden, from a Mitchell Borum. How do you mentally prepare for a race? Like, are you a music guy? Like, do you get nervous? Do you get stressed? How is it? How are you on race night?
Yeah, these days I try to stay pretty relaxed, but I have like a real strict routine that I try and follow. Try to eat the same breakfast at the same time, do the same routine. When I'm racing at Kwinana, obviously when you're racing away, it's tough, but yeah, I'm pretty kind of OCD.
What's the brekkie?
It's 2 eggs, some baked beans, some fish fingers, and a coffee. A little bit of avocado sometimes. I'm feeling a little excited.
That's fair. It's a decent little meal, I guess. But and then Dan Harding, again, the big man. Who has the better golf swing, Ned or Molly?
Oh, I've definitely got the better golf swing.
Well, if you look at the scoreboards, you'll find Ned was in front. But.
Yeah, we did get tied up there at Top Golf, but I've definitely got the prettiest swing, say that much.
Oh, you just played Top Golf?
Yeah, we got rained out a bunch there during mid-week, so we had to kill some times there some of those nights. So Top Golf was right there, and it's a bit of fun.
Mate, I feel like Dan is a good golfer. How's he hit him?
The boss, he's not bad. We've been to the range a couple of times. Yeah, he's not bad at all. He's got a pretty natural golf swing.
I know. That's that physique of like a pro golfer. That fella. I was like, I don't reckon there'd be much he'd be shit at.
I reckon he's one of them people. He just figures it out. His golf clubs are sitting over there actually.
Kaiden Mapstone. Can we get Liam to tell a story behind his nickname MCJ?
No, absolutely not. Not unless there's some sort of 18 plus podcast that we're doing later.
Mate, this is 18 plus. I always say YouTube asks, should kids watch this? Or say, I say no every time. The only a couple more. I've lost all the good ones on Facebook. I need a screenshot a bit better. Keaton Griffiths, Kaiden, are you racing the 125 at dirt trackers again anytime soon?
I'm not sure. Last time I raced a go-kart last year, I absolutely flipped my dick off and tore the rotator cuff on my shoulder. So I might give it a miss. But if there's a dirt tracker show on, it's not rained out for sure.
Rain Leeson Media, he's got two. We sort of spoke about how sick was it starting off the front of that race, and how gutted were you when you just got driven through running in that podium spot?
Yeah, I was pretty upset. Yeah, I was pretty. I didn't really know what happened, to be totally honest. Because we were so new over there, I kind of thought it was maybe I'd done something wrong. Then I watched it back and I was like, oh, all right.
Do you get fired up at the track? I feel like you're pretty cruisy.
I am until I put my helmet on, and I can get upset. But then as soon as I take my helmet off, I generally calm down. Yeah,
well, keep it on then this year. Let's get the fireworks going, mate. And Bentley Summers, thoughts on Saturday Franks?
It's good.
So he's our new recruit of a crew guy, and just giving away the Saturday lunch spot, little Frank's barbecue joint there.
Yeah. That place is pretty cool.
It's decent. Yeah, it's the Frank. It's the Saturday go-to when we're meant to be working.
What was the food like when you were in America? Is that what you're smashing, or are you just literally on like rations?
It's okay. You get sick of it pretty quick. None of it's good. It's greasy and.
Dan Harding loves the food in America.
Yeah,
he put on a lot of weight over there.
He had a fair crack at the food over there, all 3 plates.
Oh, that's why he's having a crack at crab man.
Yeah, he's struggling to lose that weight as well. I think he's come back. That's why he's getting a little upset over there.
Oh, is that why he's throwing the jabs out, mate? He's a bit jealous.
He is. Yep.
All right, awesome boys. Really appreciate your time. The sponsors on this card, just Dasco and QV at the stage. Frank Scarterfield, I've seen actually.
Yeah, Scarterfield Smash Repairs has been on board now for a couple of years, and Frank will go out of his way with these guys to drop some tanks off there the other day at lunchtime, and the next morning he's ringing me on a Sunday to tell me that he's got his guys there painting my tanks and that they'll be ready first thing Monday morning. So what he does for the sport's incredible, and the teams, and I see he's sponsoring an event in Darwin.
Yeah, is that this weekend?
I think
Top End Challenge, or what was it?
Yeah, I think it might be the Northern Territory title or something.
Yep. Yeah. Are you boys victims? Like you watch all those races? Like how often are you on pay-per-view?
Yeah, we'll watch all that and But let me just finish them sponsors.
Sorry. I don't
want to leave anyone out. Partners. But yeah, Velveline has been on board the last couple of years as well, and that's a massive help when you start understanding how expensive that all is to have all that stuff, and they're putting that up for you. And then BK Tire, Brendan Telfer's been a big supporter of mine for lots of different teams that we've worked at, and and then obviously Heater as well. He's last couple of years, and you message him and he sends you a design and you're changing it, and then, hey, can you change this one thing? Or, hey, I know we said we were done, but let's change this one thing. So guys like that, you can't thank them enough for all their help, and it makes this team go around for sure.
And what about, is there someone, just quickly then, with like when you're saying help and that, is there someone that you would like bounce ideas off now? Like, obviously, do you feel like you're somewhat new to sprint cars, or like you got a process on it? Like, if you were having problems, who would be like the first person you'd flick a text to?
And obviously, Dasco Supply Group and QV, I think you said them, but I want to never leave them off. And without them and Dan Golding, none of this happens. But
quickly with that then, I try and do it. Sometimes I forget and I get filthy. Do you think car owners get anywhere near enough credit for what they actually do for the sport?
Not at all. If people knew the amount of money and the amount of time that they invest in these teams, I'd be absolutely shocked. But not at all. People have, I don't think, any idea the type of investment that they put into these teams for, in all honesty, like most of the time, absolutely no return compared to the investment, right?
Yeah.
Unless you have the season that James McFadden had last year.
And that's like best case scenario. And like even that's best case scenario. Like, do you break even?
Maybe.
If people really ran the numbers, probably not.
No.
Definitely not, unless you really got some good partners on board. But if people saw the numbers and what it costs and all the resources and the time and all the volunteer hours that go in on the crew guys and everything, it's crazy what it takes to do this. And I get a little fired up when people say, "Oh, this guy didn't go to this track," or he didn't go to this race. Well, you don't understand, what that takes. But I did leave Elevate off there, and their new partner this year as well, which is why. And also, I'm not the one on the microphone normally spitting out the team partners, but yeah, Jai at Elevate.
He's like trailers, mules,
and we've had the Elevate mule there for a couple of years, and it's absolutely flawless. And take a lot of pride in. Everyone takes a lot of pride in their mules, but trailers, and I think he's putting together a cart trailer for Will at the moment.
Okay.
So which will be pretty cool. But yeah, new partner this year, and really cool to have him on board. And I know he's doing some stuff with Callum with it looks like a merchandise trailer or something.
Yeah, merch trailer and mule, I reckon.
Every single team has one of his mules, so it speaks a lot about his products there.
And where's he? Tasmania?
Warrnambool.
Warrnambool, over the pretty same thing for me, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, look, it doesn't. I hope it doesn't bore people or anything like that. But like, even me in my little journey, mate, it's just like without people that actually help you, like none of it happens. Yeah. Like, so yeah, I just feel like the people that do work their guts out, Frank Scarterfields of the word, Elevates, etc. Even Dan with Dasco, like he's putting in more than any, but they deserve to get shouted out, even if it's a shitty little podcast like this. But yeah, if these guys don't do what they do, well, you're probably just watching wingless go around the track, and no one wants to watch that.
Yeah. It's incredible what the resources that go in, and all of it that has to come together. And without those guys, it doesn't happen at all. And there's obviously so many of those guys in the sport, and we need them all. Otherwise, none of it happens, and none of us can have any fun.
Nah, sweet. All right, well, thanks, boys. Dan Golding gave us a spot here this week instead of TPE. Really appreciate your time. Good luck for the year, and I'll be walking around with a mic. So if you see me hanging out the front, just say come in, because it's the worst job ever, mate. Look like an idiot. Done. Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
Mate.